Okay, well, in order to get to filming just about all parts of Warsaw, this is the old part of Warsaw, which is much scrappier. It's the other bank. 2/3 of Warsaw is on the western bank, and this is the eastern bank, which is more run down, although it's nowhere near as run down as it used to be since we're in the car now. And there's my face, and there's the kids back there. You can see the kids in the car at the back there. There's my lovely wife. Let's go. Alright then, impatient as ever. And that's off, and we can take a little film about our little drive home. We go to gluten-free to try to use this gluten and casein-free diet for our little children there who need to try that out. And this is the way back. I seem to do too much filming at night because during the day I do things during the day. I'm not a vampire bat that only comes out at night. But sometimes because I'm really working during the day I don't think about it so much, but and don't film things even though I do them sometimes. But here we are, it's a Saturday, so we're during the day and I'm driving around and I can film. So this is the creative Vado, for those of you who like to guess out of my subscribers which of the two cameras I'm using, sometimes guessing correctly, sometimes less correctly. You can see it's the snow is on the ground. It's about 0, it's +1 actually. I don't know if you can see it. Voice has come back to 0. And the snow's lying around because it has to be a few degrees over for it all to melt. There's the railway line. The railway line is take your train over if you're going through Europe from one side to another. You'd end up going over that bridge there at some point probably. You can see Warsaw's yellow buses with the yellow and red livery, I think they call it. Yeah, this is the back end of the stadium. On the other side of the on the other side of the railway line, you'd have the old stadium, which doesn't work anymore anyway. We come out to the Holy Cross Bridge, Most Święta Wszystkie. I don't think I've filmed this before, so it's quite good that we're coming across here. It's a nice view into the city centre. This is one of the most modern bridges going into Warsaw. There's no point in doing it because there's so many digital zooms. So all you gain on the screen is you lose on the roundabout. You don't gain any definition. What it looks like behind you to the side of the skyscraper at the centre there. The Vistula is partly frozen today, I noticed coming over it that way. Partially frozen and partially melted. You certainly wouldn't want to try walking on it. You'll end up dead. Lots of trains over there bearing testimony to the construction going on in this city over in that direction as well. You can see the Vistula's half frozen and half unfrozen. is it? So that's the scarp of the Vistula, that's why it's all steep up there. It's just the scarp of the Vistula on this side. It's got a scarp on this side but not on that side, an escarpment. We're going to go up that escarpment right now. There's rather grand house on the left with work being done on it. I think that's something to do with Chopin. I think he lived sometime there, and that there's a museum connected with him in there. Just a bit of a steep rise for some 50 metres up, and then it's pretty much evens out, and then once you get up to this point there's not much more climbing that you need to do, and that's it. The rest of Warsaw's flat on this side, just like Warsaw's flat also on the other side. So you just got the two levels, one next to the Vistula and the other bank, and then you've got on this side the higher but still very flat land of that part of the continent. That's the hospital that we filmed George in the other day. Yes, that's right. We filmed around here the other day as well. Recently it's gone up on this channel. This is now Świętokrzyska. Not far from here you've got Winnie the Pooh Street. This down there actually is Pooh Street. One of the only streets in the world named after Winnie the Pooh. I'll have to go there sometime and take a little bit of a trip down Pooh Street. I don't know whether I'll bring a paddle or not. Or have I got it wrong? Is Pooh Street actually this one here? Yes, this is Pooh Street. That was Pooh Street there. Ulica Kubusza Puchatka, Winnie the Pooh Street. National Bank of Poland, by the way, on that side of the road with those fancy modern glass things there. National Bank. On this corner here, this white building coming up in the middle of the screen here, is the central post office, the main post office of Poland. That's where I send all my Christmas cards from, in there. Maybe we'll take a trip, maybe we'll take a left here, that might be interesting. This is Marszałkowska's junction with Świętokrzyska. One of the first McDonald's, not the first, but one of the first McDonald's in the country on that corner. Sphinx is a chain of Polish restaurants. It's Best Food by Tom Moulton. If you want to speak to Tom Moulton and ask him how he made that best food, you can try and talk to him if you like, but if you can actually get hold of Tom Moulton and talk to him about his best food recipes, then let me know, because I've been trying for years and I still haven't managed to get hold of him. Whoever this Tom Moulton is, he's not on Wikipedia either, this Tom Moulton. And I think that whereas Colonel Sanders is actually a historically valid person, Tom Moulton's, historical, the truth about a character called Tom Moulton making the best food in the world is probably less authentic than the Robin Hood legend. Certainly there probably was a Robin Hood, whereas Tom Moulton seems to be a completely fictitious character. Whether that way of advertising is fair or not, I'll leave to you to decide. On the other side of the Stalin building there, next to my wife, and then there's the Novotel, which used to be the Forum Hotel, is over there. There's the Polonia Palace Hotel on that side. This is the central building, this rondo here, the round building there, with the Universal building behind it, that's that red brick thing. This actually exploded in the 1960s, killing quite a number of people because of a gas leak. This central roundabout here, Rondo Centrum, this is where, this is the place from which all the distances in Poland to Warsaw are measured. It's like your Polish Charing Cross. I think I've mentioned that before in a video. So if you're looking at my videos carefully, you'll probably say he says the same things over and over again. But again, this is still Marshal Kostka. Marshal Kostka is like the Polish Oxford Street, if you like. It's got all the shops on. It's not the best shopping centre, because obviously the malls are probably more shopper friendly than streets of shops, but and the same goes for London, doesn't it? Not everybody wants to go out and shop on Oxford Street necessarily, when you can probably get most of the same goods anyway in these malls like Brent Cross or whatever there is, Lakeside, Thurrock and places like that. Well, it's the same here, same everywhere I expect, that your actual street with shops on it is struggling to compete against these specialist malls. And certainly when you consider the way a street's made, you've only got so many parking spaces per shop, whereas if you're someone that likes public transport and knows your way around public transport, well then you can get a lot closer up to the shops you particularly want if you're on the street. But then the same would be true of a mall anyway, even because public transport goes there too. I think the advantage of the street over the mall could come back again if the motor car sort of has to start playing second fiddle to public transport because of either legislation to protect fuel, or simply the pricing of fuel might get prohibitively expensive, or less definitely available in all places, and then the shopping street rather than the shopping mall may get strongly back into fashion again. And in a way I hope so, because there's a certain beauty about it, a certain traditionality about it. Certainly you don't tend to get yourself killed walking out with your shopping in a mall out and getting hit by a passing car, so certainly the malls seem to be a bit safer. But there's a certain traditionality about this which I like. Actually going down the street, you've got to go down the street anyway to get from A to B, so if there are shops around and you can look through the window and look at them, then that's more interesting, isn't it, than if there weren't anything here on the streets, just the bottoms of residential buildings with nothing specifically to look at. I mean, that's rather boring. Just walking along purely residential areas, and where people have got their windows shut, it's just boring, isn't it? I think the Dutch have got a good answer to this. They actually have, if you go around Holland, I'm not sure it's all of Holland, but certainly if you go around Hoek van Holland and all the port areas of Holland, you can actually look into people's front rooms. They're like sort of living at human aquariums. And apparently the reason was they wanted, they're all sailors' wives, and they wanted for the community they wanted to be accountable, that they were at all times faithful to this husband who was out at sea, and therefore that any of the neighbours at any time could simply peer in through the window, whether they were pretty much automatically appear into the window whether he wanted to or not, if that's the only place there's any light on the street. So and you'd see the lady of the house in there involved with her knitting or her crossword puzzle or whatever it might be, and you'd know that she was a righteous woman, not playing it up while her husband was out at sea. And that's how the Dutch people I know, explained that strange habit in Holland of the Dutch, who are not necessarily a very exhibitionist people, actually behaving with their open windows downstairs, no net curtains, just see straight into the front room and watch people going about their business. That's why they explained it that way. It wasn't people showing off their wealth, although you have to say when you look into those people's front rooms that, of course, because they know they're on show, they always make sure that that front room doesn't look tawdry in any way. They've got beautiful furniture and beautiful decorations, and it all looks very nice. If you walk down those streets, I'm talking about it when I'm filming something completely different, of course, but one day maybe it's worth actually taking a little film down there, and I don't suppose it would be that big an intrusion of privacy to actually film it, because let's face it, anybody can look in there anyway. So so one of these days I'd like to actually go there and film that for you so that you can see what I'm talking about. This is the Trasa Łazienkowska. I've filmed here before, probably not so much during the day. We got to the Polnocna, which is the memorial of the pilots, and what he's holding up is part of an aeroplane. See? Now Tanya's getting a little bit excited because it was a little bit too early for her to go home, but we're not going straight home. She thinks we are because we're on the road that runs down back home again, but we've actually got to go to another shop yet, so she won't be disappointed at the shortness of our trip out. This road, by the way, is the road which goes to the airport. We're about halfway to the airport. There's an American flag over there. It's, for all the world, looks like a real American restaurant. But you can be sure there's one thing that makes it different, and it's like any other European restaurant, you don't get massive drinks in there with complimentary second portions and large glasses or jugs of water, perfectly potable water, for free, given as compliment. Everything you drink in that restaurant costs in the same way as it would in any normal European restaurant. Also the staff are not as polite as they would be in a real American restaurant. And also the other difference, of course, is that people are allowed to smoke their heads off, and if you don't smoke your head off, you have to walk through the place where people are smoking their heads off to be in a place where you can have the fresh air that you deserve and have a right to as a human being. And I certainly didn't see anywhere in America where I had to smell anybody's foul and filthy cigarette smoke. So and the other thing is that it probably costs more here than in America these days. So one thing I have to say about America is it was fantastic to eat out in America. It's not that fantastic eating out here. It's okay, certainly better than in Russia, I have to say. But we got a long way to go to match the quality of the experience of eating out that the Americans have on a day-to-day basis. So there we are. I don't think I've got an awful lot more to say on this film, but very nice. Hey Tanya, shut face, we're not going home yet. Right, say goodbye to everybody. Oh dear, oh dear. I tried to finish off my film in an elegant way and I get yelling. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that, and see you again.